Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Dispute stalls federal government immediately plea bargain talks. Aerial view of some of the 30 illegal refineries bombed into destruction by Air Force in Rivers State. 5 die, 12 injured in multiple Lagos-Ibadan highway crash. $55 million NLNG dividend. FAC queries NNPCL. Exporters lead forex supply. FG NLC meet on planned strike. Umahi, we inherited 6 trillion naira funding gap on the 2,604 projects. And controversy over 418 million naira Paris Club refunds lingers. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let's start with the human interest story in the nation. So they said 5 people have been confirmed dead and a dozen of others injured in a multiple accident at Ogumaki, which was a few meters away from the 4-square camp corridor of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They said the 4 persons were rescued on huts by operatives of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, and the Nigerian police. And the auto crash involved 3 vehicles, which happened at about 6:15 a.m. yesterday. So the sector commander, FRSC Ogun State, Anthony Oga, was the one who confirmed the accident and attributed the cause to speed, said the tire burst and also loss of control on the part of the truck driver, whose truck now stayed as an obstruction on the road, and other vehicles just rammed into it in the confusion. So he said the injured victims were already taken to Victory Hospital, Ogere, for medical attention, and the remains of the dead were deposited at the morgue in Ipara.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's take the major headline in the nation. According to the nation, there's a plea bargaining presently going on between the former CBN governor, or the suspended CBN governor, because it's not exactly removed by the Senate. The plea bargain presently is being stalled because, according to them, what they are tracking runs into trillions of naira, and the suspended CBN governor and other officials that are also being investigated are not offering more than a few billions. So they have stalled that, and there's also rumor that, because it's not confirmed, that the former suspended CBN governor has resigned in August. Not confirmed, no sources named, but you know, the plea bargain presently ongoing has stopped, and I hope that it stops. So they says if that happens, he's definitely going to face trial himself and the officials being investigated. Right. Also, the anchor borrower scheme is due, and they're not a large amount of money has not been paid back by those borrowers. The farmers and anchor borrower scheme that he ran. So all of those investigations have hit brick wall right now, and I hope that they continue those investigations and they find people who will face trial for monies that they've taken.
Okay, so talks between the federal government and Labour would resume today. The meeting was at the instance of the Labour and Employment Minister, Simon Along, and it was confirmed by the Secretary to the General Secretary to the NLC, that's Emma Ugbuaja. He'll say that today they'll be having a meeting. If you recall, the last meeting that was called, NLC didn't show up. I think it was only Tuesday that was there. And also, just as a note of reminder, one of the issues NLC was having is the immediate reversal of the anti-poor policies of the federal government, including the recent price hike in PMS, increase in public school fees, the release of 8 months withheld salaries of university teachers and workers, as well as the increased VAT. So these are some of the issues that they need to discuss and renegotiate. And I'm happy that talks will resume today, and hopefully it doesn't end in a deadlock like it did back in September.
So I want to take the story. The Minister for Works, David Umahi, every time I have to take his story, I feel like I'm swallowing my words, because I was one of those that felt like, I don't know what David Umahi has done. Well, now we are seeing he's very active. The Minister for Works had a meeting with the President to brief him concerning how many roads are being under construction, that they inherited 2,604 roads, covering 18,000 kilometers, costing 14 trillion naira. And that since this administration came into power, they were able to release 4 trillion naira to contractors, and there's a 10 trillion naira need to balance up. But out of the 10 trillion naira, only 4 trillion naira have they been able to source. So there's a deficit of 6 trillion naira, which is what we know. A lot of road construction doesn't finish because they don't have the funds released to them. He said some of those projects have been ongoing for 20 years, even 10 years. That his meeting with the president was to discontinue projects that are over 10 years old, they will be re-awarded because some have had 8 years, no fund was released to those particular contracts. He said, looking at the number of the volume of projects that are ongoing in Nigeria right now, the focus must be to properly clear it out. He has threatened to fight any entity that is planning to frustrate his goals. He said, I know there are a lot of fights from contractors, but I am David. I'm known for fights.
Hey,
I will fight this because I've reported myself to the president ahead. So we're looking forward to how this fight resolves to the benefits of the people. That is my own.
He has been influenced by his friend.
By his Wike. Oh no, I was in Abuja. I was expecting work for Wike to do. Let's not even go there.
Okay, how many days you go for Abuja?
I don't understand.
I was in Abuja for.
Were you in the political setting? You want to go and rest? Please calm
2
down.
days Abuja now. We hear what now? Daily Sun. Panic in CBN as probe expands. Shake up in NNPCL as 3 EV. You have a story? I missed the story? Oh, not done Punch. Not been no. Sorry, I folded it. Let's go back to Punch. Marketers eye fresh fuel hike. A price hike as crude hits $94. 2 hospitalized as 500-room Lagos building collapses. NDLEA rescues pregnant teenagers. Arrests suspected drug traffickers. Cardoso, National Assembly plans quick screening. Private sector demands reforms. Oyo Messi awaiting Makinde as new Alaafin says Bashorun. 12.5 kg cooking gas price may hit 18,000 naira by December. And FG Labour meets today on post-subsidy talks.
Let's talk about this gas matter because everybody is going to feel the impact. This gas that we used to buy for 7,000, 8,000 naira, they're saying that the gas retailers are warning Nigerians that the price is likely going to hit 18,000 naira by December if the federal government does not restrict the activities of terminal owners. So this isn't about even the cost of sourcing. It's for them, the ridiculous hike in gas price going on right now is based on terminal owners, that the price could reach 18,000 and the federal government needs to step in. That there's a sudden increment from 9 trillion to 14 trillion by 20 metric, over 20 metric tons. They've asked that the NNPCL takes 59% of the gas production by the NLNG. And NLNG has also increased the price from 6 million to 8 million. And now because NLNG has increased price, NNPCL has increased price. The terminal owners too have increased price. And they are expecting that the ordinary man might not be able to afford to cook with cooking gas. They might have to resort to firewood. It will affect their businesses. They are expecting that there must be a flat rate put in place that says this forex price keeps going up. It would continue to affect everything. The government should step in.
Major headline, that's also another issue. So marketers yesterday said that the rise in the cost of crude oil, coupled with the depreciation of the naira against the US dollar, might lead to a hike in the pump price of petrol. They said the rise in crude oil price to about $94 per barrel, and the crisis around, the forex is gradually increasing the amount being quietly spent as subsidy on petrol by the federal government. So, they went to explain the crude oil, what we are getting now. I said Brent's crude, the global benchmark for oil, rose to $94 per barrel on Sunday, which has been the highest figure in 2023. They started this year at $82 per barrel, and which also dipped at some point $70 per barrel in June, but then traded again above $92 per barrel in the past week. And they said Naira has been fluctuating between $9.30, $9.50 and the forex scarcity has worsened. And so it now seems like even though the government had claimed that they have stopped the payment of subsidy, it seems like they are going behind to implement quasi-subsidy, because now we're not paying what is commensurate to what they are getting, what they are buying, the crude. We're supposed to be paying really high now, but we're still within 580-something, 70-something to 600, depending on the filling station you buy the fuel from. So if we continue like that, that means they've gone behind and government is paying subsidy.
This happened in the last administration where silently for a long time we didn't know before they called it
deductions.
It's,
It was
something,
Deduction, they called it
yes.
different
They
names.
gave it
They called
different
it
names.
before we finally called it what it was. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen.
Let me take this story, really painful. A building collapsed in Agboiketu area of Lagos State. It's supposed to be a 500-room building within Agboiketu. I was surprised, 500-room. So I think, according to this report, it used to be a school. On Sunday afternoon, as residents were trying to salvage their belongings, the building crumbled and crushed quite a few. I think just 2 people actually hospitalized, fighting for their lives. During the visit to the affected areas, dozens of residents were still moving their belongings in different directions. Now, Punch reminded us that back in 2014, they had done a report about this particular building. And they said that during an investigation, they had written a report back then, where saying that a 500-room 500-room house in Lagos where tenants were living like prisoners. According to that report back then, it chronicled the horrible living conditions of tenants of Agboye Estate, who contended with snakes, scorpions, and other dangerous animals because of the stagnant sewage water at the back of the building. During that time, the Lagos State government had sealed up the building, but a few days later, it was reopened, maybe because residents were obviously clamoring for, they wanted to reopen.
No, they can break the seal.
So the resident went back there to live. So after that tragedy that happened, now this guy has totally crumbled. And they've been trying to see if they can get to Lasema to get the updates from the Dr. Femi Okeoson, but not yet according from the time of this report. But it's really sad that that building has finally collapsed, caved in.
No, what's even sad is the one that people brought
People
up
were
themselves.
going
The moment
now.
it was sealed and certified unfit
said
to
this
Yeah.
be occupied, people should move.
Still reviewing Punch. Nima has a story.
There's hope for, the story. When BC was taking the NNPCL story, my mind was in camp. But now we have hope because the president has nominated 5 senior officials of the CBN. Mr. Yemi Cardoso as the CBN governor and 4 new deputy governors of the CBN, MM Musoro, Mohammed Abdullahi Datijo, Philip Ekeazo, and Bala Bello as, the people who lead us in the issues of the CBN. And majorly, what they'll be focusing on, of course, is FX. Recovering all this Bora thing that we saw happening like magic. And, of course, getting the Naira to some strong level and removing these double-digit interest rates. I'm hoping, seriously hoping, that we can increase production, focus on trade and export, which is one of the things that we have, diversify from oil and do something better for our country. We need to
celebrate when oil prices go up.
Yes.
Because we know our revenue will increase.
increase
Now
now.
we are panicking.
We need to do that.
Daily Sun, panic in CBN as probe expands. Obi in Bangladesh says SME is key to global economic growth. Shake-up in NNPCL as 3 EVPs retire. 5 died, 12 injured in Lagos-Ibadan highway accident. Demolition, Abuja traders write AGF over police disobedience of court orders. Actor Rotimi Odukoya succeeds dad as church overseer. Ramfak defends salaries of political office holders, puts Tinubu's pay at less than 1.5 million naira monthly, ministers below 1 million naira. And Tinubu nominates new ministers for Ministry of Youth. Okay, which story?
Okay, let me take the shake-up in the NNPCL. So 3 executive vice presidents of the NNPCL have retired. They were supposed to retire in 2024, but because, they want to immediately fast-track and pave way for the injection of new, younger faces in the National Oil Company, these people were made to retire. The EVP for Gas, Power and New Energies, Abdulkabir Ahmed Adokiye Tombiye, who is the EVP for Upstream, and Adeyemi Adetunji, EVP for Downstream, have all retired and they've been replaced with immediate effect. And let me not bother mentioning the names of the replacements. So hopefully these ones will come and do us better. Where NNPC will be able to open their books for audit to the CBN, to the Senate.
That's a long one.
So the demolition, 1,000 traders have gone to court to appeal to the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi-San, to stop the Inspector General of Police as well as the Urban Shelter Limited from carrying out any construction work. There's this particular area in Abuja, Area 7 shopping complex, and they are taking it was illegally demolished according to them, and they're taking the case to court, and that the place that was demolished, even though there was a court order that the demolition shouldn't have taken place. And now they say construction work wants to start on the site, and they are seeking that the AGF steps in and stops the company from starting construction work, since initially they shouldn't have demolished the place in the first place. And they are appealing that they had already planned to put temporary shops within the place, and this area, 1,000 businesses were dependent on that particular location in Garki, Abuja, and they are hoping the AGF will step in for them and protect their interest.
So the presidential candidate of the LP, that's Peter Obi, was in Bangladesh. You know, our president just got from India. He also went to India. He went for the Global Summit for media, and he was specifically saying that he was underscoring the importance of small, medium enterprises. He was saying specifically that, let me find his remarks here. He urged that SMEs are emerging as the undisputed engine of rapid economic expansion and growth globally, and they must be encouraged. He said that it has the same immense impact on India, where SMEs account for 40%. He urged the Commonwealth nations to pay very special attention to small businesses, which have proven to be the fulcrum upon which sustainable and inclusive growth development can happen in any nation. So he was speaking there in Bangladesh, and it was good to see that he was also in support of the need for SMEs to be supported.
So Chairman of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RAMFAC, is saying that contrary to popular speculation that political office holders in Nigeria do not earn outrageous emoluments. And he said that against the backdrop of the recent rumor of a proposed 114% increase in salaries of political office holders by the commission, that Nigerians were describing this as very wrong because of the biting economic situations in the country. He said the salary increase is not true, and that their salaries have not been reviewed since 2007. From 2008 till date, nothing has been done to their salaries, that they were just concerned. And some individuals had initially taken the matter to court, where the judge ruled that at least a judge should be paid about 10 million naira a month. But he says they will not be contemplating increasing their salaries for now because of the economic hardship that everybody is facing and the challenges Nigerians are facing. But however, they are going to look into it, and they will try their best to do it when the time is right, when things sort of settle a bit in the country. And he says that they are not really paid jumbo salaries. He said the monthly salary of Mr. President is about less than 1.5 million naira. And that of a minister, hold on now, that of a minister is not up to 1 million naira. Official. But he says there's this money they give to them to run their office, which goes to them directly. Normally, outside the country, there's a body that handles it. But here it goes to them, and they're supposed to use it for the statutory work they do, and then retire the receipts back to the government. Like every month you retire what you spend, on your... so that's where we think they are earning so much. But their basic salary is not more than that amount that they have mentioned. And he went ahead to say that Nigerians should try as much as possible to pay their taxes. We have...
they should mention that money.
Okay, let's move on to...
Why are you asking me the question?
I was going to take a story. Okay, we're taking Bangladesh. Who else has taken in the story? Daily Sun. Okay, let's move on now to Vanguard or Tribune. Which story is... Let's go to Vanguard very quickly. Anger's RAMFAC defends jumbo pay of National Assembly members and others. Obasanjo's stand-up order will respond at appropriate time. Impeachment move. Senators disagree over plot to remove Akpabio. Students' visa. UK hikes fees for Nigerians and others. Unical sex scandal. Women Affairs Minister apologizes. 1.1 trillion naira anchors borrowers funds. Bank chiefs risk unrest. Tinubu nominates Jamila Ibrahim, Youth Minister. Olawande, Minister of State. And Lagos downpour collapses building with 500 rooms. Okay.
So there's this story very close to my heart. UK dear to increase student visa applications from 34.99%. So now, starting October 4, 2023, Nigerians students and other foreign students, international students trying to go to UK, especially our own, be paying 490 pounds, which amounts to 409,640 present exchange rate.
Ew.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. According to Home Office, that's where I'm going. He said they cited the need to finance essential services and allocate more funds for public sector and pay increases in the UK. So now be market.
Yes.
Now before.
You don't think
now.
it's well.
Yeah, no.
No, when they now collect the money finish now, they'll say we are plenty.
Now you that you want to go there.
They have their own.
If they need money, they
You
will not
that
talk how
want
much
to
they
go
Can we
get.
move on? We're not
Because
discussing
I'm
it.
not discussing.
They-
I just
discussing
Down
it.
your country.
Please, another way we pay my body. The matter that trended over the weekend. Elder statesman, former president of Nigeria.
Oh, okay, that one.
So, in the wake of the alleged ridiculing of the traditional rulers at Iseyin in Oyo State at the weekend, the Council of Obas and Chiefs in the state yesterday said that they promised to respond to former President Olusegun Obasanjo at the appropriate time, noting that the incident was unfortunate. If you recall, he was actually invited by the governor of Oyo State, Makinde, and many have reacted. They said that we respect protocols. We would not explain what happened last Friday. It's unfortunate what happened. However, members of the Oyo State says that they are law-abiding citizens and respect constitutional authority, and they're all leaders, so they will respond at the appropriate time. However, his wife, Mrs. Taiwo Odukoya, yesterday begged for forgiveness on behalf of her husband, the former president.
Because the former president has always respected royalty.
He has. So what happened? So somebody was saying that somebody was saying it was probably part of being senile. He says that I think it was one of the kings who attended the event, the Onipetu of Ijeru Kingdom, Oba Sunday Oyediran, yesterday said that the former president should not be taken seriously, adding that senility is affecting him. So they said they are
It's the traditional rulers
suggesting
that have problems. Why would I go stand up, sit down?
Auntie, mind your business. We will
I
respond
mind it.
at the appropriate
I'm
time.
minding it.
We shall respond at the appropriate time to tell you why we stood up
But the-
and we sat
One
down.
even put crown, keep on the floor.
That's not the same event. It's a different event.
Okay.
Don't mix it. Don't join
Disease
issues.
of old age. So I think it's not, because when I first said that word, so I felt it was a negative word. Anyway, some bank MDs are going to be losing their jobs and get arrested. He said
now.
some bank MDs.
That's why they were joining the strike now.
Yeah.
Remember other
Some
labor and
bank
they were wondering why it was late.
supported individuals to siphon money from that anchor borrower scheme.
Wow.
That because the CBN had an ambitious plan to feed the nation, there was a disappearance of 557 million out of the 1.1 trillion given out by the Apex Bank. And they said there was a connivance between the bank heads that they are risking being arrested, and lengthy detention will be effected from today as the deadline given by the president. The president is on a goal to retrieve money. So when people are already going back and dropping money, a lot of monies are going back into the coffers
Quietly,
now. Quietly. And
No, so
we're
ask me,
hoping-
why is bank joining NLC strike? When everybody came here, when did you start? You are now seeing they're unraveling some things. No problem, we'll see it. That is all we can take on front page review and return. Move on to the hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.